Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Live. Now, Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs has expressed concern about the congestion at the Beitbridge border post, citing that it poses a big risk in light of the spread of COVID-19. This as traffic outside the border remains congested with hundreds of trucks, buses, taxis and small vehicles still queuing to get to the port of entry. Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi has attributed the massive delays to truck drivers who don't have the required documentation to cross the border. COVID-19 protocols such as screening and testing are also contributing to the delays. Now, to discuss this further, we're joined on Zoom by Advocate Bongani Bongo, Chairperson of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs. Sir, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning to you, Levo, and good morning to your viewers.
So let's start with the situation at the moment. What is your knowledge of what is happening at the border post at the moment?
No, thank you very much, Levo. I think after the Portfolio Committee had called for the intervention at Beitbridge, what has happened to this extent is that the local municipality of Musina has agreed to provide absolution facilities to the area and some water which were much needed. But to that extent, part of the intervention that we requested was provided for by the Defence Force of South Africa. And the police have also augmented the number of people who were there because there was a cry about the visibility of the police. In terms of what Home Affairs has done and what we've instructed and the Minister has agreed to, is to have the DG of the department stationed there over the past day and today. And what will happen is that the people at customs have been increased, and we have seen over the past 12 hours an easing of the problem which was at Beitbridge. You will note, Lev, that Beitbridge is a critical border post, and what we have approved as the Committee of Parliament in terms of the annual performance plans of the department was to have a one-stop shop at the Beitbridge, wherein everything is done in one stop, as opposed to now we'll have to get in, talk to South Africans and get the other side and talk to the Zimbabweans. So what must happen in the next financial year is a one-stop shop that will be able to ease the process there and enable what the President has already signed into law, the Border Management Authority Act, and in line with the Africa Free Trade Agreement. Beitbridge has been identified as a critical key point area.
Surely these problems should have been foreseen because we knew people were going to go home for Christmas. Plans should have been in place by now.
You are quite correct. I think we have, as the committee, criticized the department on what has been a slow pace. But the cluster of the security of government has come into handy because we now have the whole cluster working together, Department of Home Affairs, the police, and the Defence Force. So I think that has provided a force multiplier in terms of dealing with these issues. We've also urged the department and the cluster to start preparing for these people when they come back, but also prepare for the Easter, which will also create much more problems. But we're assured that there are plans in place in relation to when the people come back and when the Easter start. But we're looking at a broader, bigger picture of the Africa Free Trade Agreement, which was signed by the various presidents of the continent, and the Border Management Authority Act. So those are the kind of implementations of legislations and policies that we want the department and the cluster to focus on. And as a Committee of Parliament and the committees that are relevant for the cluster, we're going to do a strict monitoring on a month-to-month basis in terms of ensuring that our borders, not only Beitbridge, but also the ones in Libombo and elsewhere, gets to give the service that it is expected to be given to the people of the continent.
What updates are you getting from the minister, seeing that a decision was taken that the DG will then be posted at the border? How often are they updating you? What is the situation at the moment?
The Director General is briefing me on 2-hour basis. He's sending me also the pictures of what is the situation currently. And we have thanked the minister for allowing and posting the DG at that area, because that has been a force multiplier in terms of easing all the issues that relates to the trucks that are there and the people that are there, and facilitation between the municipality and Parliament and the department in this regard. So there has been quite a progress, and as the Committee of Parliament were quite impressed about what is happening there. But we will coordinate, as we do, with other clusters that deals with the issues at Beitbridge level.
Now, we believe there was a meeting between the South African government and the Zimbabwean government. Do you know anything about that meeting? Do you know what transpired out of that meeting?
I was informed by the minister that there was such a meeting. The meeting was meant because you'll know that there is an oncoming and offcoming. As we speak, like I've said earlier, you will have to deal with the authorities at customs of South Africa. When you get the other side, to deal with the Zimbabweans one. So part of what the meeting generally was expected to produce and give a roadmap about was this one-stop shop, because the intention is that we need to have a one-stop shop in Beitbridge so that you don't have people queuing this side of South Africa and queuing the other side of Zimbabwe. So part of what that meeting was deliberating on and reflecting on is this one-stop shop border post that must be erected there at Beitbridge.
How soon can this one-stop shop happen? Because we need solutions right now. Of course, there are reports of people that have been at the border for more than 48 hours. So surely now we shouldn't be having conversations about strategies. There should be actions in place at the moment.
In terms of what was committed to Parliament, in terms of the implementation plans of the department, we are expecting to oversight this particular one-stop shop from the next financial year. So in the next financial year which will be even much more before the Easters. We think the one-stop shop will start to roll out, because there is quite a bureaucratic process that must be followed. But we think the one-stop shop will be quite a force multiplier in terms of a provision of a sustainable border control, both in Beitbridge and the Botswana and the Lesotho and the Swaziland and Mozambique one, because those are quite critical and quite closer to the people who come and who live in South Africa.
Now, you said you are receiving 2-hour updates from the DG who's at the border. When was the last update? What did he say to the last conversation that you had with him?
The last update was this morning, when what we have requested to know about was these people who are reported to be dead, which is what is very important to us, because we don't expect to lose life out of this kind of things. And the other issue was this issue of the corona testing and so on, how they are managing it. In terms of the death, we were reported that we will get an update upon the investigation of what has exactly caused this death of these people. And we are getting also constant WhatsApp videos on how the situation is getting to be eased on a 2-hour basis. And I should say that we were happy that the minister has posted the DG. The DG is also a new DG in the Department of Home Affairs. The vigor and the enthusiasm that he is showing, I think it is showing that we are going to deal and solve a lot of problems that beset home affairs in this country.
Now, according to the Limpopo Department of Transport, the decongestion of the N1 is underway at the moment. According to the videos that you are receiving, is that what you are seeing, that, you know, the congestion is a bit easing and cars have been moved, private cars have been moved to a stadium? What are you seeing there?
Yes, the videos that were being sent are closer to the border. What has been happening, if the trucks have stopped the way, the South African Defence Force has brought a tow truck of the Defence Force. If you have blocked the way unreasonably so, the truck will be towed to another station where you will have to go there and look and meet with the customs and pay some fines for whatever thing that is happening. But what has been posted is that the whole congestion has been easing over the past 12 hours in a progressive way. What we're monitoring now is that it must not congest again, as we're in the Christmas area. But we're not only monitoring this Beitbridge one, we're also monitoring Libombo and elsewhere because of these COVID-19 regulations and other related matters.
And as the portfolio committee, what guarantees are you getting from the minister that we are not going to have the similar situation in January when people return to South Africa for work again?
You will note that the portfolio committee is the one that holds the government and the executive into account about what they have promised to do. In these instances, we got that assurance from the minister. What we'll do and what we'll continue to do is to monitor whether those things are done. If they're not done, we will have to hold the minister accountable in terms of what he was expected to do as Parliament. But we have been given that assurance, and we have been told that officials are dispatched in all these problematic border posts at this point. One being the Beitbridge and one being the one in Mozambique and Swaziland. So we think that we will spend a sleepless night between now until the people come back in ensuring that we give that oversight and we give our contribution and ideas on how we must improve the situation in the best interest of the people of South Africa, because we have promised them that we are going to build a better South Africa and a better Africa and a better world for them.
What solutions is the Home Affairs Department coming up with, given that the holdup is also the testing at the border? We spoke to somebody a bit earlier. The Borders Association was saying that they've now decided that they'll only test truck drivers at the post. What about the people in private cars? You know, the situation is not easing because part of the problem is the wait and the testing. How do we solve the problem? How do we test a bit faster? What is your solution to the problem?
What we have requested, because there is a net job there that is responsible for all these things that involve all other departments. What we have requested was that there must be an increase of the number of people who are doing these tests. There must be an increase at people at customs. There must be an increase of the visibility of police. And South African, the National Defence Force must be brought in. And all these things were done according to our request and the intervention we've requested. We have requested the municipality to provide absolution facilities, which they have done, and some water, as it is required at the point. So to this extent, we are convinced that things are moving in a way that will ease everything there. But if the situation does not improve, we will call upon the cluster-related of committees of Parliament to go to the Beitbridge and just do the live oversight ourselves, but we have confidence in what the Minister has provided and the information that is provided to us. But we are speaking to the DG of Home Affairs on a 2-hourly basis. He gives me a call to give an update, and we're quite satisfied with that kind of intervention that is taking place at the moment.
All right. And just before I let you go, the situation at the other border posts, what's the situation there?
The situation has been about the curfew and the testing. But now that the net joint has agreed to increase the number of people who are testing, the situation is getting managed in the Mozambique border and the Swaziland one. So we think that the situation there is much more under control as opposed to the one in the Beitbridge. But we were quite satisfied with the progress that we have been reported to. But as you know, Lebo, I live in Mpumalanga. It's not far away from me to can go to those borders. I'm not far away. That we can provide a live oversight just to check that everything is fine.
All right. Advocate Bongo, thank you so much for speaking to us about the current situation at the Beitbridge border post in Limpopo. Advocate Bongo. All right, we asked you a question a bit earlier today. Are your Christmas plans changed given the number of COVID-19 cases?